People keep telling me I need to go touch grass. Touch grass, man. Well, the past few days, it's felt like I can't get away from grass.
What?
Like yesterday when I was trying to get ready for school, this happened.
Seriously? On all my clothes?
And like normally I wouldn't give a shit, right? But this next one, it got to me. The only place safe from all the grass was my gaming setup, so I figured, oh, I'll just waltz over there and play some Tears of the Kingdom. It'll calm me down, right? What the fuck? The challenge starts on New Game, which puts Link and Zelda deep in a cave under Hyrule Castle. And to absolutely nobody's surprise, there's no grass down here. You know, since it's a cave, like 3,000 meters under Hyrule. Anyway, we waddle our way down to the end of the cave and we find Ganondorf. He's just kinda chilling, but Zelda wakes him up and disturbs his nap. So he throws Zelda into the void. Bye-bye. Then Rauru saves us and whoop-de-doo, we're on the Great Sky Island. Our first order of business is to grab the broken Master Sword and break the vines in front of us. Now we have a choice. We could activate this green glowing ring which opens this door and make our way through the beginning as intended, but without anything to help us avoid touching the grass, we won't make it very far from there. Fortunately, there is another way to get around this. So there's a super precise jump we could do here called Cog Skip Skip, and if we do it, we could actually get a really useful item pretty early on in the challenge. So I'm gonna go for it. That setup looks good. Yes! First try too. So now we just have to get through this cave. This cave is filled with grass. These are more like weeds, but to make the challenge as clear as possible, we're going to avoid any and all small plants. And before you guys comment, oh, why don't you just cut the grass with your sword? To that I say, no, because I'm not about to go all over Hyrule lawn trimming. I want this to be a pacifist grass run. No cuts, no burns, no bombs. With that explanation out of the way, how are we gonna tackle this cave? Using the knowledge of this game, I already knew a way how to clip out of bounds in this cave. There we go. Oh my god, this place is beautiful. That's the chest that has the item we need. But eventually, I had to get back on track and try to escape the cave. Unfortunately though, at this point in the game, we have no way to get back in bounds, so our only option is to reload and try a different approach. Speaking of reloading, by the way, to make this harder, I wanted to only use autosaves. The next plan is a lot more direct. By doing a combination of climbing around and jumping over the grass very carefully, we're able to inch our way through this cave and eventually reach the other side. All that's left from here is a little bit of balancing on tree trunks and a few scary jumps over some patches of grass. Jesus. Until we make it to a chest. We open the chest and get wings. Now, it's easy to imagine why wings are useful for this challenge. If we can get high above the ground, we can spawn a wing and simply fly over all the grass. Needless to say, this is a crucial item to complete this challenge. 3 wings is definitely not enough to beat this challenge, but I know a duplication glitch, so we can get a lot more than that. No matter how hard Nintendo tries to patch duping, a new method is always found. And for us, it's as easy as pulling out a bunch of wings and pressing B and Y at the same time. Now, we'll be doing this throughout the game to make sure we don't run out of wings. For now though, it's time to move on. Before leaving this island, we still need a couple things. There's a bunch of small trees around this area that drop sticks. These sticks will come in handy in the future, so let's pick a few up. We can place a few wings over some grass to make sure we're not touching it, and make our way to the trees. We slash them with our sword and pick up 2 sticks. With these in our inventory, we're now ready to leave the island. To do this, we're going to climb this tree, spawn a wing, and quickly jump attack to land on it. We ride this wing until we're past the island, then jump off and dive into the title cutscene. After the cutscene ends, we immediately get to see our first major use of wings. Ideally, we want to land on a wing and fly to the construct in front of us. But if we simply just spawn a wing and land on it, we'll die from fall damage. Luckily, there's a way to avoid this. By spawning a wing after a dive, it will do a flip, and while it's flipping, you can climb on the bottom of it to cancel your fall damage. Then spawn a new wing and land on that one. Come on. Yes! We did it. This construct gives us the Pure Pad and points us in the direction of the Temple of Time. Because of how we landed our wing, we are still standing on it after speaking to the construct. And we're able to displace another wing to get to the ledge, allowing us to fly all the way to the Temple of Time, avoiding so much grass. Look at all the grass we're skipping. We place a wing behind us before interacting with the door. Next, we're introduced to Rauru, and he explains we cannot open the door. First, we must regain our strength by visiting the shrines nearby on the island. After that, we spawn looking directly at the Ultra Hand Shrine, but instead of going there, we're going to jump off into the void. Goodbye, sweet world. Why? This is why. Yeah, we warped all the way back to the top of the map. Here's where we were, and this is where we are now. Now, what caused this? Well, Tears of the Kingdom only updates Link's position when he's on the ground, and since we need to stand on wings to avoid touching any grass, by only standing on wings, the game never updates Link's position, thus causing us to spawn back at the tree where we first left the island. This has a lot of advantages. From here, we can access anywhere on the Great Sky Island with a single wing. The highest shrine currently is in the mountains, so we'll head here first. Now, we're far too high to land the wing at the shrine, so our only option is to once again do a fall damage cancel. This time though, instead of grabbing a wing like before, we can grab the shrine instead. Although 90% of the shrine is not grabbable, there's a small portion of the shrine Link can just barely grab. Come on, come on. Yes! First try. It wasn't first try. We had a few fails, but we got there. If you look around the shrine, you'll notice there's no grass. That's great news for us. Not only is there no grass in the shrines, but it also gives us the ability that will come in handy to help us avoid grass later on. This shrine gives us the power to rise through floors, which sounds really useful, but honestly it's a nightmare for this challenge. This is because you can't tell where you're going to end up until you realize you've just ascended into grass. Are you kidding me? Now there is one thing you need to get while we're here. See what this construct is holding? We need that. So we bonk him a few times and eventually he drops his bow. This bow is useless to us for now, but it'll become very useful in a bit. Anyway, after getting the bow, we can go through the rest of the shrine as intended. After leaving the shrine, I noticed we were completely surrounded by snow. Though snow is technically not grass, there is grass under the snow. You can even see it poking out in some spots. So to be absolutely sure that there's no grass being touched, we will be avoiding snow as well. This rule creates a real problem for us. Because there's snow surrounding us, we need to find a way around it. The obvious solution is to make a bridge with wings, but placing wings in this area is very awkward for some reason. These are just not placing. The next thing I tried was spawning a wing from the top of the shrine. Though this was finicky, I eventually was able to spawn one and land on it with a couple jump slashes to get some extra distance. From here, we have to make a pretty big jump down to the ground below and enter a cave nearby before we freeze to death. Alright, this is the one. We will get to that cave. We will not touch a blade of grass and we will cancel our fall damage. Let's go! Yes! We got it. Finally, dude. Once in the cave, we can take a breather and grab a few more useful items. We're gonna pick up the shield and the bomb. Now all that's left is to leave the mountain area without freezing or touching snow. Unfortunately, leaving this cave normally doesn't work as there's no way to place wings again. Instead, we ascend up to this tree branch, jump off it, and spawn a wing. Oh shit, no, please. Now, since we started with Ascend, pretty much everything is below us, so I decided to wing to the construct to get a battery. This is useless to us, but it's required, so we might as well get it now. The next obstacle to face is this cave. This cave holds a very broken item that we will be abusing to make the end of the game a lot easier. First though, we need to get past this grass. We lure out these bats so we can kill them without cutting any grass. And with some careful climbing, we can avoid all the grass and make our way into the cave. Once inside, all there is to do is throw some bombs at these rocks and boom, there it is. Now this one ruby won't do much, but we can duplicate it just like we did with the wings. We pretty much have unlimited items that will one-shot every regular enemy. Now that we've got the ruby, we can make short work of all these bats in this cave. And after avoiding a little more grass, we can emerge from the other side. Now, to our right, there's a cooking pot with some constructs. With the power of the rubies we duped, we kill the constructs and steal their shield. Once we have the shields, we can avoid the rest of the enemies and place a few wings to get to this small tree, allowing us to grab 2 more sticks. We need 4 of these. Why 4? You'll see. Now that we have 4 of our sticks, we just need to avoid a bit more grass and enemies, and before we know it, we're entering the next shrine. Fuse is surprisingly the most useful ability for this challenge. You may think Ascend is more useful because we can go to high points and wing off of them, or maybe Ultra Hand so we can move wings wherever we want to, but both of those options are nothing compared to the potential Fuse has. Now, on its own, Fuse doesn't do much. What are we gonna do? Fuse a mushroom to our shield?
I fused a mushroom to my shield.
How will Fuse help us to avoid grass? This is where we need to get a little creative. First though, we need to do some target practice on this chest. If we hit the middle of the chest, it will come flying towards us and we can collect a prize, a small key. Now if you look at our inventory, we have 4 sticks, 2 bows, and 2 shields. This is exactly what we need to do a trick called zuggling. This is basically just stacking a bunch of items on top of each other. This can cause a lot of really weird things to happen. Link can lose his hair, Link can lose his legs. Look at Link, he's floating. This is the key to beating the challenge. We can just float over all the grass. Now, obviously this is cheating and off limits. Legless Link isn't actually what we're trying to do with zuggling. It's more of a side effect. Now, why do we do all this? Because this has actually unlocked the most broken state in the game, known as arrow smuggle. So now when we hold our bow out, there's no bow, just an arrow in Link's hands. With this state, we are able to gain infinite height by doing a jump attack and canceling it by pulling out our bow, or our arrow, I guess. This is also why Fuse is the most useful ability, because fusing the bow to our stick allows us to keep our arrow smuggle for the rest of the game, as long as we don't die or load a save. Oh shit. No, dude. Once out of fuse, we can immediately see our next shrine in the distance. Now there's a lot of grass between us and the shrine, and the shrine is also a lot higher than us, so winging there isn't an option. We could walk all the way there by placing wings, but that seems too easy, and also really slow. Instead, this is where the real use of our new arrow smuggle comes into play. So I'm gonna place some wings here so we don't touch the grass, and I'm gonna attempt to do an arrow flight all the way to the next shrine, which is all the way over there. Let's give this a try. Nice, okay, keep it up, keep it up. Now, this isn't easy. There's a specific rhythm you do to gain any height from this trip. What? It just ate my inputs. Press the buttons too slow and you'll lose height. Hit them too fast and you'll do a regular jump attack. Dude, every time I mess this up, I have to reload, re-zuggle, and then do the arrow flight again. This is so painful. After many fails and many minutes in the pause menu, I was finally able to make it all the way to the shrine and... No! No! Why? Why did that grass have to be there? Is this gonna be it? Yes. Oh, that feels so good, you have no idea. We are finally at Ultra Hand, man. Ultra Hand is surprisingly a completely useless ability. In fact, I don't use it a single time in this entire challenge. I should rename this challenge to, can you beat Tears of the Kingdom without touching grass or Ultra Hand?
We're gonna rewrite that. That's not funny.
Okay. And to prove my point, we're even going to avoid touching most of the Ultra Hand shrine by doing another arrow flight, skipping the entirety of the shrine. Side note, I love that you fly over the shrine. You still get the jingle for completing the puzzles when we don't even interact with any of them. And with that, we're at the end of the shrine and we collect our well-earned Light of Blessing. Thank you, Rauru. Now, outside of Ultra Hand, Rauru talks to us briefly about making our way to the Temple of Time. We ignore him and run the opposite way so we can set up another arrow flight. Don't count what you don't have. Count what you have now. Don't count what you don't have. Next, we open the door and find a floating almond waiting for us. We run up to take a bite, but instead we find Zelda. We ignore her once again, but not before getting an ability from her. Recall! We're never gonna use this. Oh shit. Haru, leave me alone. We ignore him once again and move on to the next door. We grab the door only to be told we are not strong enough. I swear to God, Rauru, you look like a twig. Bro, I'm so sick and tired of Rauru insulting my ego. Let's get out of here. We need to teleport back to the Room of Awakening where we started the game, because there's another shrine here. If you have a keen eye, you may have seen it at the very beginning of the video. We couldn't do the shrine then, not only because we didn't have the proper gear, but also because Nintendo did not like the idea of us doing the shrine early for some reason, going as far as to deactivate it completely until you do all the other shrines and unlock the teleport ability. But now we're here with all the necessary requirements complete so we can enter the shrine. Recall is the last shrine we need to complete, and again, we could use the ability Zelda graciously gifted us, but we are not using Recall. We're doing arrow flight again. Every time. There's no grass to worry about anyway, so we can kind of just do whatever we want. Now, just to prove how useless the abilities other than fuse are, we're going to skip the clock puzzle. Normally, you need to rewind one of the dials so the two are lined up. This will open the door, but instead of that, we can just time our arrow flight so that as the door drops down for just a moment, we can infinite height our way past it just in time before it closes again. And with that, we have no use for 2 out of 4 of the abilities in this game. Link is now grassless, ultra handless, recallless, and holeless. Now that we've completed all the shrines, we can TP back to Ultra Hand and once again do the arrow flight to the Temple of Time. I'll be honest, this isn't that hard anymore. Once we get here, we talk to the statue lady and she gives us a heart. With this heart, we can now open the door with little to no effort. Push! Push! All we have left to do is one last arrow flight to the altar with a glowing light. Naturally, we put our favorite sword into the light and... Where'd my sword go? Well, moving on, we just completed the Great Sky Island, and our prospects for beating this game are looking really good. But you may be thinking, that's just the tutorial. How the hell are you gonna do all the dungeons without touching grass? And the answer to that is... Link. And by link, she's talking about our Discord server link in the description. Anyway, I'm a speedrunner, and if there's one thing all speedrunners are good at, it's playing games in unconventional ways.
Whoa, the potato's killing the dragon.
So, to avoid all the dungeons and simultaneously avoid touching grass, we're going to jump onto our wing and fly towards Hyrule Castle. We could go visit Pura, and trust me, as much as I want to, I don't think we should, because we already have everything we need actually. Not quite. We'll need to make some preparations. Mainly, all we need is more rubies. These will get us through most of the enemies that stand in our way. We also need arrows to make getting to the end of the game a lot easier. To accomplish both of these goals easily, we dupe rubies on the wing and climb the wall to the castle to cancel our fall damage. Right next to us is conveniently 10 arrows. Now, believe it or not, we have everything we need to reach the final boss. Where's the final boss though? Spoilers, he's right under us.
He's right behind me, isn't he?
Well, not right under, he's actually way below us in the depths. Now, there's pretty much zero grass between us and the end of the game, but that doesn't mean that the challenge is done by any means. We still have to traverse the depths as well as fight Ganondorf and his minions. Oh, chills, man, chills. But how do we do this with no paraglider, no real weapons or armor, and no heals? Well, once again, we have our trusty arrow smuggle. Not only does this trick give us infinite height, it also allows us to clip out of bounds nearly anywhere and allows us to cancel fall damage anywhere very easily. Arrow smuggle is so broken, dude. Like, it's actually funny how broken this glitch is. I mean, and we're already clipped. We're already out of bounds, dude. Like, come on, Nintendo. How? From here, we can simply run to the right a bit and Link will begin to plummet into the void. As we fall, we can see the structures begin to render. This is the intended path to the end of the game. All of this is avoided with these clips, making our lives a whole lot easier and making this challenge a lot more doable. Now, with some precise movement to avoid some invisible collision, once we've passed the bulk of the structures, we finally begin to see the glowing roots signaling the end of the game. Even though we can see where we need to go, like right under us, we can't actually go there yet because there's an invisible floor blocking us. So we're gonna land on this platform here. Now we're on this weird out of bounds surface. The platform's just below us, but we can't reach it. And with no ceiling to clip through, how will we reach the platform? Well, there's one more trick that allows us to clip back in bounds for this exact situation. See, Nintendo thought they were clever making two-sided collision. So when you clip out of bounds, you can't just clip right back into bounds. But they were a little lazy with the out of bounds collision. See, when Link dies here, he actually falls through the invisible floor. This is because when Link ragdolls, his collision behaves differently than when we're standing or diving. And given enough speed and a little luck, if you ragdoll, you can actually clip back in bounds. And with that, the final obstacle between us and the end of the game is behind us. Now, what is the end of the game exactly? Well, in a normal playthrough where you beat all the dungeons, you have to listen to all these guys say,
Demon King, Secret Stone.
thank God we don't have to do the dungeons. So what do we have to do? First, you have to fight Ganondorf's army, then all the bosses you previously beat come out and try to stop you. But your friends that helped you along the way step in to fight them, allowing you to move on to fight Ganondorf. But it looks like we don't have any friends.
I am having a very bad day.
Army is quite a hassle, and given that we only have 4 hearts and our only source of damage is throwing rubies, which by the way one-shots us if we get hit by them. No, are you kidding me? We need to be very careful when throwing them to make sure they don't hit us as well. This is easier said than done though, because the enemies really like getting right up in your face or just walking into the rubies you throw. And for this reason, it took me quite a few tries just to get past the first phase. And remember, whenever I die, I spawn all the way back at the castle. I need to zuggle my items again to get arrow smuggle and then clip twice to get back and do another attempt. It took me a little while to get through the army, but eventually I did, and we were faced with our next obstacle, Colgera. If we were to fight this guy normally, we would be toast. But luckily, there's another way to beat him. Or get around him. Fortunately, Nintendo made a massive oversight here. Ganondorf doesn't actually spawn in Hyrule until you defeat his army. But we did defeat his army, so the only thing stopping us from going to him immediately is this big red wall. Once you defeat all the bosses, that red wall gets destroyed, but what if we had another way to get around it? Yeah, you guessed it. More arrowflight clipping. Normally you would have to fight Army, then 6 bosses, then Ganondorf. But by doing this, we can go straight from Army to Ganondorf. So first I clip out of bounds to get past the red door. Good first clip. And then I clip back inbounds once I'm past the red door. And that's a good second clip. Once past the red wall of gloom, we need to make our final preparations to defeat Ganondorf. Right now, all we have is 2 halberds and 1 Lizalfos horn. Now that definitely isn't much to defeat Ganondorf on its own. I mean, look at this. Fortunately though, I have a solution. Do you remember the zuggling we've been doing to stack items in order to get arrow smuggle? Well, that serves another purpose. It doesn't just stack the items, it stacks the damage as well. So we should have the equivalent of 5 spears all doing damage in 1 hit. Basically. Now it's time to take on the Demon King. Now this fight is pretty much scripted when you have so much damage. First phase, you wait for his attack, flurry rush him, and boom, on to the next phase. Phase 2, the exact same thing. Wait for his attack, flurry rush, dead. Final phase, this phase is a little different because Ganondorf gets tired of being flurry rushed and decides to flurry rush us. This doesn't really change anything though. When the phase starts, we just attack him, he flurry rushes us, then we flurry rush him, and rip my boy Ganondorf. See you in the afterlife, brother. I don't think there's any grass left. Like, we're good, right? Almost. We're not done just yet. Remember that floating almond from earlier in the video? I want to take a bite. Yeah, well, he did get to eat it. And it made him into a dragon. Kinda jealous, not gonna lie. Anyway, he picks up Link and pulls us back up to Hyrule. Now, big scary Ganondorf lifts Link high into the sky, thankfully not bringing us near any grass. Once we're high enough, we break free from his mouth and fall only to be caught by another dragon we've never seen, except this dragon is on our side, and spoilers, it's Zelda. Double spoiler, she has the Master Sword. Pause. We didn't do any of this story, so what the f is happening? Okay, basically, Zelda fell in the beginning of the game, went back in time, met non-ghost Raru, stole our sword, ate an almond, and became a dragon. Now back to the present, he's here with our sword fully healed. How convenient.
The Master Sword. Your sword.
Oh, so it is our sword. You gonna give it back to us now? With the Master Sword in hand, we're well equipped to fight the Demon Dragon because, like Breath of the Wild, this is a gimmick boss that isn't actually a real threat. The only way this guy would be a threat is if he was made out of grass instead of gloom. He's not made of grass, so we take our victory lap on his 4 obvious weak spots and perform our final blow on his face. That didn't sound right. 2, 1... Man, nothing screams victory like a nuclear bomb going off in the middle of Hyrule. If they do not adequately show the restoration and reparation of the damages that have been done from that bomb, they're just gonna leave it, aren't they? They're just absolutely gonna leave it. After that, Link and Zelda are transported to the Spirit Realm, or something I guess. And there's Raru and some random girl we've never met, but they help us out by healing our arm and making Zelda no longer a dragon. Now after that, they transport us back to Hyrule 1,000 feet above the ground for some reason. Like, what the f, Raru? Could you have not just put us back on the ground safely? Like, I've seen you do it before, so I know you can do it. And are we not going to talk about the fact that every time he teleports Link, he also takes our clothes off? It just feels a little off.
Hearing you speak so highly of Link, I find myself wanting to meet him as well. Link, finally you wake.
I'm sure it's just a coincidence. Anyway, Link looks down and sees that Zelda's unconscious, plummeting towards the grass. We grab her hand, grab her hand and embrace her while we fall at terminal velocity into a shallow pant.
Last line, bro.
We grab her hand and embrace her while we fall at terminal velocity into a shallow pond. Bro, that pond is like 6 feet deep tops. They're both dead from that. They're 100% dead from that. No, Link, step over the grass. No. No. It's over. But I think maybe I was wrong all along. Maybe touching grass isn't so bad. Sorry, can you bring it back over this way? Thank you. I'm trying to have a moment. I spent hours trying to beat this game without touching grass, but in the end, we touched grass anyway. So, what's the point? Maybe the point is that trying to go through life avoiding things that make you uncomfortable is a losing battle, and sometimes stepping out of your comfort zone may be exactly what you need to break free from the mundanity in your life. So, the next time you find yourself staring at your desktop in boredom, maybe try going outside and touching some grass. You might just like it. Christmas is coming up, folks, and I plan on dropping at least one more video before the New Year's. So if you want to see more of my stuff, consider subbing. You can always change your mind later. See you all in the next video.
Thank you.